What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I brought you out here to basically the middle of nowhere to shoot this video and explain to you guys how to register a JDM car in the United States of America, more specifically this R32. But of course, as soon as I get out here, it starts pouring down rain. What the heck? Rain wasn't even on the forecast for today, but here it is. As you can see, we're out here pretty much in the middle of nowhere, not that far from base, but there's nothing here. We're on a dirt road in the middle of nowhere. Flat land everywhere, rainstorms coming in from that direction, and I just realized that I'm almost out of gas. I forgot to fill up before I left base, and there's not many gas stations in this area. All these nasty bugs get all over the car every time you go out anywhere. Not bashing North Dakota, but it's different. So I guess instead of ruining my camera equipment out here, setting up and using the tripod and explaining everything, I was gonna do the drone and all this other stuff just to kind of give it cinematic value. I guess we'll cruise back towards the house and maybe hit up the gas station on the way. And I guess I'll just explain everything there. Now, I guess this will give us an opportunity though to throw up the GoPro and get a little footage driving back. I didn't drive too far off this dirt road, only a few hundred yards, just to give it that look. We're pretty close to one of the main roads. I mean, it is in the middle of nowhere. God, it's so shaky. And these struts need to be rebuilt. They're Olin's coilovers, but they were used when I picked them up, so they need to be rebuilt properly, and hopefully I can send them off this winter. But somebody the other day on one of the comments was saying, now that I'm in America and up here in North Dakota, they want a wide open throttle video. So maybe I can give you guys that on the way back. The gas light's not on yet, and we're not that far from the gas station, so we should be able to make it and give a little pull. But it's nothing special, it's not that fast. It's a fairly stock R32 GTR. I have the N1 turbos on it, and full exhaust, and that's, I mean, intakes, that's pretty much it. There's not much else to it, so it's not that fast, and I don't have a super loud exhaust like the Tomei exhaust, but what the heck, I'll give you one, and the little crappy mic on the GoPro will probably barely pick it up. It may look like I'm driving on the Japanese side of this dirt road, but I'm just trying to avoid the big bumps, and I don't think there's gonna be too much traffic on this road to worry about. As you guys can see, we are now back at the house, safe and sound in the garage, and of course it's not even raining here at all, and it's sunny outside, but right where we were about 5 miles north of here, it was starting to pour down rain. I don't really feel like driving out and trying to find where there's not gonna be any rain, so we're gonna do this right here in the garage today. So the purpose of me making this video is going to be explaining to you guys how you can register your car from Japan in the United States of America. I'm gonna kind of do two sides of it. One, to help out the military people coming back from overseas, coming from Japan back to the States. And two will be people importing cars to the States who buy cars through Garage Defend and myself. Basically, the processes are gonna be about the same, but the only difference is how you're gonna acquire some of the paperwork you're going to need to complete registration on your car. For the military members coming from Japan, if you haven't checked out my video, Dropping My Car for the Port, go do that. There's a lot of useful information in that if you're coming up on that time to send your car off to the States. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop that car off and go to the Land Transportation Office, and that's where you will get your export certificate, which is this right here. Now this is actually only a copy of the export certificate. My original export certificate has still yet to arrive. The port will promise you they will send it soon, but here we are 4 months later and still no export certificate. This export certificate is very important because that is what a lot of states require for you to register your car. Now it is different state to state. There's many differences in many ways that I've heard of people getting away with it. Let me tell you my story and then we'll go over a couple others. I tried explaining to them that clearly right there it's Japanese and English, but the lady wasn't having it. She was kind of being a stickler about it. So what I did was I went home that night and made this. I got my export certificate translated by scanning it in with my phone and editing it on my computer by deleting the Japanese writing and just leaving the English right here. And I did that for every single spot, as you guys can see. There was a couple things I added in, like right here, the classification of vehicle, and the purpose type of body. This part is in Japanese, so I did just use Google Translate and just exactly how it translated it. The classification is normal, the use is riding, the purpose private use type of body, and I just completely made that up because it didn't translate correctly at all. I just said coupe, and it worked. So I went back the next day, and luckily the lady that I dealt with the first day wasn't there, and I dealt with a much nicer lady who was much easier to deal with, and she accepted my translated export certificate. Now, the lady that I dealt with the first day told me that maybe I could go to the university in town or have somebody who is a certified translator on base translate this for me. But in Minot, North Dakota, that's not the easiest thing. It's easier said than done, I guess. Now, I do want to give a shout out though to Julius, who is an R32 owner here in Minot, who kind of gave me the tips on how to get this done. He was having the same issues with the same lady whenever he brought his car back from Japan. So he kind of gave me the rundown on what I needed to do. Basically what he did was just take sticky notes and cut little pieces out and put them over that Japanese, and then use a copy machine to have just the Japanese part deleted. So we did it a little bit differently, but in the end it was the same result and it worked perfectly. There is another kind of what came as a surprise to me about registering a Japanese car in America, was that in some states you have to pay sales tax. Sales tax on a car I bought in Japan 3 years ago? That seems crazy, but apparently it's not. And in North Dakota, even military, which in some states military are exempt, so you guys coming back, check with your state. I think Idaho might have an exemption for military. I know a couple buddies elsewhere that had got the exemption, but I had to pay 5% sales tax on my R32 GTR that I bought 3 years ago in a different country. Which brings me to my next useful piece of paperwork that if you guys are military and have owned your car while in Japan and coming back to America, is this bill of sale. The bill of sale will be required if you do have to pay taxes on your car. So what in North Dakota they were trying to do was look up R32 GTRs in their system to see what they were worth in the United States. So I know that on NADA they are starting to cover what these kind of cars are worth over here, and it's crazy high, it's ridiculous. I think it was $45,000 is what NADA says for the R32, and you don't want to pay 5% on $45,000. So my bill of sale, as you can see right here, is from the year 2015 when I bought it on July 14th, and I paid $15,000 US for it, which was a good price at the time and would be a killer price now. You can't find them for probably under $20,000 even at auctions these days in Japan. So even after I told them that I had the bill of sale, she still insisted that she needed to check in the system and see what it was worth today's value since I had bought it 3 years ago. But luckily in her system she wasn't able to locate it, and I just had to pay the sales tax on $15,000, which still came out to $750 US just for taxes on the car. That wasn't even to register it. Now, if you aren't military and you are exporting your car through us at Garage Defend or for any other company like that, but specifically for us, we will send that export certificate before the car even arrives to you so that you can have that and potentially even register the car and get temporary plates or whatever before the car even arrives. So it's a lot faster on the civilian side of things, and you don't have to worry about the slow or negligence on the military contractor side of things coming out of Japan. I know in Okinawa it's bad. I don't know how it is coming from Yokota or Iwakuni or any other base on mainland Japan, but I know a lot of people who still haven't received their original export certificate. And like I said, all states are different, so some states require you to have the original export certificate or you cannot register the car. I know plenty of people who have come back from Okinawa who left before me and got their car before me who haven't registered their vehicles because they were waiting on the original export certificate, and some who had to contact the port in Japan and multiple calls to get their export certificate mailed out. Now, another thing I've heard for military people trying to register your cars is some states will let you register it off of the Military Vehicle Registration Worksheet. This is what you get if you're coming from Okinawa. The JSVRO, when you out-process them, you will get your Vehicle Registration Worksheet, and they will stamp it saying you're cleared and everything like that. You need it for your final out appointment. This makes sense for anybody who's in the military. If you're not, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But you can use that to register your car in some states. Some states don't require the export certificate, some do. It's different for every state. So it's gonna be best to probably just visit your DMV, because if you call asking all these crazy questions, unless it's in a big city where there's lots of skylines, it's probably gonna get complicated over the phone. Now the end goal, however you register your car, is a US title, or state title, I guess. This is from North Dakota. My odometer status is exempt. I've seen some titles from people who have come over here and shown all the information on their car, and then they put, let's say they had 100,000 kilometers on their car. I mean, that's only, 60-something thousand miles. But when they come over here on the title, they'll put 100,000 miles. So it's kind of false advertising, I guess you could say. If you're gonna end up selling your car, somebody's gonna think it has 100,000 miles when it really only has 60-something thousand. Not a big deal for me. I don't really plan on selling it. And if I do, I mean, I have all the history all over this YouTube channel and everything that I can prove how many kilometers or miles are on it. And another thing I noticed was weird was the shipping weight. It says 148. And in the United States, we use pounds, but that's definitely kilograms, I believe. So another thing they kind of messed up on the title, but that's kind of how it goes when registering these gray market vehicles over here. So to kind of end this portion of the video out, I guess my recommendations for you guys that are still in Japan and who are going to be bringing your cars home is keep all your documentation. Make a folder. I've had that folder for like 6 years now, and keep everything in there. Keep all your important stuff, because when it comes time to register the car, you might need it, because it can be a little bit complicated over here in the United States of America registering these Japanese sports cars. Now, as you all can see, it looks like the car's not registered yet because I still have the Okinawa plates on there. I'm still waiting on my custom plates to come in the mail. They said it'd be anywhere from like 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm still rocking the Japanese plates, which I like anyway. It's really cool, and I think I'm gonna continue to rock the one on the front, but I probably will take the one off on the rear just because I assume I would get pulled over if I didn't. I am gonna have to pop the seal right here. I know a lot of people were wondering about that. I know they go for like $200 or $300 sometimes on eBay for these seals, because people want these actual authentic seals to go along with their Japanese plates. But I'm definitely gonna be keeping mine and trying not to mess up the seal when I pull it off. I don't know, maybe I'll keep the Japanese plates on there and just put the other ones in the window. But I do have a pretty cool custom plate coming that I would kind of like to put on the car. I have been talking forever now, so I'm sure there is something I have missed. If I missed anything, or you do have any questions at all, put them in the comments. I'll do my best to answer everybody's comments on registering these cars. It's a bit of a process, but really once it's all said and done, it's not that bad. And hopefully with the help of this video, you'll go in with all the ammunition you need and knock it out the first day. Now, I'm not quite done with you guys yet. A couple more things I need to show you. Please welcome the 2 newest family members to my family. Please welcome Captain, and please welcome Maria. Just got hit in the face with that tail. These are our Huskies. Yeah, they're the sweetest boy and girl, brother and sister. They're about 2.5 years old. We adopted them once we got over here in Minot, and they are the sweetest and the best dogs ever. They're super well trained already, and it's been super fun having them. Haven't put them in the GTR yet though, because they're shedding like crazy. So maybe when it gets a little colder, they can get in there with me and cruise, but they do love riding in the Jeep. And they love going on walks, and they're so well trained I don't even have to put them on leashes. And one of their favorite hobbies, other than riding in cars, is chasing these little dak rats. And they're basically, I guess they're Richardson ground squirrels, or also kind of like gophers, kind of like prairie dogs, depending on where you live. They're kind of all the same. But here, what I guess they call them are dak rats, and they are all over the place in base housing. We have a couple holes. I kind of filled it in with rocks. There was one over here, but I think Captain is sniffing over near another one right now. We have a hole right there that I've also filled in a little bit. But these guys love chasing dak rats. They haven't got one yet, but it is definitely one of their favorite sports. We have Canada coming up this weekend. The next video you guys see will probably be from Winnipeg, Canada. We're going up there for the Driven show. I'm gonna be spending a couple hours there. I'll probably be there around the time they open at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on Saturday. And I'll probably just spend 2 or 3 hours there. I'm not gonna spend the whole time we're up there at the car show, because I do wanna do some things with the family. We're gonna go to a baseball game. We're gonna check out the Children's Museum. We're just gonna do a nice chill weekend in Winnipeg, Canada, but I will definitely bring you guys along for that. These pups sure do love the back. What are you doing over there, Maria? The pups do enjoy the backyard a lot where they were at before. They were living in an apartment complex, so they didn't even have this little bit of a yard to run around in. So they've really been enjoying it. Is that right? Is that right? Is that right? Who's gonna? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Maria loves playing. Captain's kind of the big goofball. She's the kind of smart, mischievous one. And we are still without all of our stuff. That crappy table and chairs are our kind of like rentals. And we're still waiting on our stuff, and we still got like 12 more days before it is delivered to our house, and I will be so happy to have our stuff back. Now last, but most certainly not least, I want to give a big shout out to both Blake and Eli. Both of their cars they bought from Garage Defend have just recently arrived in the States. It's really exciting getting to see some of the cars that we sold end up over here. Blake has a beautiful Mark IV Supra that he got from us, and Eli got the beautiful R32 GTR. Thank you guys so much for purchasing from us. I hope it's everything you dreamed of, and I really look forward to seeing some pictures on Facebook of them. And I mentioned Eli before because he was gonna start his YouTube channel, which they do have a YouTube channel going, but it's mostly his wife that does stuff. But Eli's promised us an R32 video, so I will be on the lookout for that coming soon. Anyways, I've done enough talking. This video is officially over. Like I said, if you have any questions about registering your car, please leave in the comments below. I will see you guys very soon in the next video. As always, thanks for watching.